All right, Mons, let's talk Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a little bit. This team, obviously, the season did not end the way a lot of Buccaneers fans hoped, losing to Dallas in the first round of the playoffs, but they have made the playoffs the last 3 seasons. They have a lot of talent, a lot of veteran experience on this roster. Obviously, they're without one veteran, as Tom Brady has most likely hung it up for the last time. But we've got some very interesting and exciting news for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers involving the quarterback position.
That's right. And there's a lot of positions opening up on this team. There's a lot of options to add some key players, whether it was through free agency or the draft, Nick. And now we want to ask Tampa fans, who are you looking at? Who is the apple of your eye? What player do you want to add to this Tampa Bay team to make it perfect, whether it's through free agency or the draft? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what other big moves is Tampa potentially eyeing?
So obviously, with Brady retiring, Blaine Gabbert is a free agent right now. The only quarterback that is currently on the roster is Kyle Trask, the young quarterback from the University of Florida. Trask certainly has some talent, but it does not look like, the way it seems to anyone in the football viewing public, that he is at least the short term, probably not even the long term answer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's clear the Bucs have to make a move to address the quarterback position. And there's a very interesting rumor linking the Buccaneers to a former Tom Brady teammate of all people. This is according to TotalProSports.com. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in need of a quarterback following the retirement of Tom Brady. That quarterback may come in the form of an ex-teammate of the legendary quarterback. Per NFL Network's Mike Garofalo, the Bucs plan to, quote, retool while still completing with none other than Jimmy Garoppolo as one of the options they'd like to replace Tom Brady. All right, guys, I think bringing in Jimmy G to replace Brady is interesting on a number of levels. Obviously, you're talking about a guy who wants to follow up a legend. That's a tough position to be in. Jimmy G, obviously backing up Brady in New England, seems to be perfectly okay with that kind of mentality. He seems to have the right mindset to handle that. You know, no situation's too big for him. He always seems to be calm. He's a veteran guy that can run offenses and win playoff games. We've seen that in a number of instances throughout his career with San Francisco. I think this is a very interesting fit here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Miles, give me your thoughts on the Bucs going after Jimmy G, or just everything with the quarterback situation right now.
Yeah, no, I think Jimmy G is a pretty good fit for this Tampa team. They need a veteran guy. They need a guy like Brady at the end of his career. He was smart, but he's a game manager. He wasn't really, running around too much or doing anything too crazy. But Jimmy G, he seems to be a guy when he's in there, he can consistently carry a star-studded team and win a lot of games. And this is a team, as it is in this moment, has a lot of star power all around the ball. Vita Vea is good on the defense. Shaq Barrett is good on the defense. You got Levante David, who's also very good, and they've got some pretty good corners as well. Then on the offensive side of the ball, obviously Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, et cetera, et cetera. There's a ton of interesting talent on this team. So Jimmy G seems like a good fit because it's almost a similar setup to the 49ers, where at one point in time they've built this team around Brady, so they're always one quarterback away from being playoff contenders. And that's what Jimmy G can bring you. He's very consistent. You know what you get with him. And I don't think coming into play after Tom Brady is going to phase him whatsoever. That's not even really going to be on his radar. He's been around Brady his entire career. But I don't think coming in, he's not even going to be thinking about it. So he's a perfect guy. The expectations really won't mean anything to him. He's just come in and play his best football. And he showed that at the 49ers. He brought the 49ers very far in the playoffs multiple times, brought them to a Super Bowl. Like, he can get you there. And they have a team, the archetype of this team right now is a team that just needs a quality quarterback to get them through the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's always a number of factors when you're addressing the quarterback in the offseason. All right, obviously the biggest one is salary cap, because who can you physically afford? Because quarterbacks are expensive. The Bucs are not in the best salary cap situation right now. They're well over cap, $55 million according to overthecap.com. Now that'll be addressed for a few cap casualties. A few guys will get cuts. There'll be a few restructuring. That number is going to come down dramatically. But what does remain is the fact is the Bucs have to be mindset of the cap they allocate to address quarterback. And Jimmy G can hit that nail on the head, because when it comes to quarterbacks, he's fairly cheap. Last year, his cap hit mines was $14 million for the 49ers. That is basement level bargain pricing for a guy with his level of experience. I look the Bucs to potentially bring in Jimmy G on like a Marcus Mariota to the Falcons kind of deal. 2-year deal, $20 million, 12, 15 million guaranteed right up front. And then a low base salary of the year one. If he plays great, they'll bring him on for year two. If not, they'll cut him and move forward. I think that's the kind of deal that makes sense there when I look at what the Buccaneers need in terms of addressing the quarterback position without spending a lot of money. And the other thing, Miles, they don't have the draft pick to draft a quarterback in this quarterback heavy class. According to what are they? They're at 19 in the draft draft order. Obviously, with how many great quarterbacks there are, the only guys who are going to be available at 19 are going to be maybe a developmental guy. I don't even know if Anthony Richardson will fall that far, but he probably would be the only guy there at 19. And he's a guy who's not ready to start in year one in the NFL, probably won't even be ready for year two. So even if you try to use the draft to address quarterback, you're not going to get a guy that's going to be ready to play for 2 years. So, and again, so right now, and we talked about this on another video, Miles, the NFC South is so winnable, right? I mean, the Panthers, who knows what their quarterback situation is like? The Saints, who knows what their quarterback situation is like? You look at the Falcons, who knows what their quarterback situation is like, right? Like, I feel like between those 4 teams, whoever has a solid veteran is probably going to win the division. So with all of that mindset, it just seems easy. Okay, we get Jimmy G, we get a solid veteran, we win the division, we can afford him. He's not going to blow up the cap space. And even if we wanted a really good rookie quarterback, we don't have the draft position to get it done. To me, it just seems like a move that just makes too much sense. Seems to have the stars aligning on both sides of the deal here.